Now it's time for me to tell you the story of my life. I was in my 20s when I really deeply realized my mortality of my human form, that the human experience will end. Of course, you see your relatives or friends or somebody dying, even as a young person, some deaths happen around you, but it doesn't necessarily hit really deeply until a point. This could be any point for anybody. For me, it was somewhere around my 20s, early 20s, that I realized, oh shit, I'm gonna die. This body's gonna end. How do I want to live? And I had this weird intuition that I'm gonna die soon, that I won't see my 30s. I will join the 27 club without being famous, because as a young person who doesn't want to be famous. So I was like, famous or not, I will definitely die around myself 27. And so then how do I live if I'm going to die so soon? I realized that I just have to live for today. I just live as if I'm going to die tomorrow. And that's what I did. That made me do some great things that I really cherish and enjoy. I traveled a lot. I did whatever I wanted. I got, untouched by the conditioning of the society as to what does success mean, what is achievement, how should you live. I was free and I was just exploring my life in my own way. And because I was fully present, I was rather successful in whatever I tried to do. Although I did not do anything long term or with any long term planning, because I was going to die in a couple of years or a few years. But whatever I did was fun, was highly engaging, and I enjoyed it. And this feeling stopped me from planning long term. This feeling stopped me from thinking anything long term or building anything or creating anything, because what was the point? Everybody was going to die. I was going to die. So why not live for the day? It just felt like the perfect modern hippie way of living. And I did that for several years when I became 27 and realized that I'm still alive. And because of my hippie happy lifestyle, I'm rather very, very alive, very lively, very healthy, very energetic. Then I became 30 and I realized, okay, I'm not going to die. What if I'm going to live up to 100 or more? And the kind of health and wellness that I feel within me, it might be no surprise that I live up to 100. So, how am I going to do it when I'm older? How am I going to take care of myself? And how will the finances be? Should I think about them? These kind of thoughts started to come naturally. Perhaps biology kicked in around my 30s and I started to think like that. And around that time, I came across a quote. The quote is attributed to Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, popularly known as Mahatma Gandhi. I don't know if it was his quote, but it's attributed to him. It says, live as if you were to die tomorrow, learn as if you were to live forever. But I think I misread it. And I read, live as if you were to die tomorrow, live as if you were to live forever. And I was like, that's an interesting idea, because we always think in binary. We always think either this or that. Either I'm a good person or I'm a bad person. Either Democrats are good or Republicans are good. Either left is a good ideology or right is a good ideology. We're always thinking in binary, and society system wants us to think that way. But luckily, I was like, okay, let's try to think, how can I bring in all the perspectives together and let them brew in me and see what comes out of that. And I like this idea very much. What if I live as if there is no tomorrow? And at the same time, what if I live as if I'm going to live forever? Like if I die tonight, I'm fine, I'm peaceful, I'm okay to die. But if I keep on living, it's not a drag, it's not a dreadful situation. I'm happy to live forever. So having this approach greatly improved my practical material life within the span of 4 to 5 years. I had enough savings, enough investments. I could learn a lot because, learning skills, you need time. And if you're just living for today, you're not planning for tomorrow. But if you are living for today while planning for tomorrow, and knowing that even planning for tomorrow is happening today, and you're enjoying the work for the sake of work, not because the plan will materialize, then you enjoy it. You enjoy building, creating, and whatnot. And that helped me. And I had savings, investments, whatever I could do to safeguard my material physical life, because I don't want to depend on anybody. And I do not believe in this image of spirituality that's very popular in East. I don't know how is it in the West, but in the East, The spiritual people has to look very skinny, very poor, and does not have to enjoy any material pleasures of life, because that's against his spirituality. But I completely dislike this idea. And although I don't really enjoy listening to Sadhguru anymore, maybe in the beginning I did, I like this very much in him, that he lives and he promotes enjoying life fully, because life is to be lived, life is to be enjoyed as well, mindfully, consciously, sustainably. But definitely you don't need to hide and live in a corner somewhere, you know. So yeah, let's not sit, let's just continue. So this approach helped me, and I could do both. I could live for now, which I still do, and I still can think and plan. Like, this YouTube wouldn't have happened. None of this would happen if I won't think like, okay, let's build something that can impact more people. So what if we're gonna all die? We will create the energy, we'll leave the energy here, and the energy will continue. You know, if you have children, if I have children, we pass it on to them, it will in a subtle way continue. It's not just this perspective, this depressive perspective that we're all gonna die.